Alright. Be quiet. Let's just quickly start marking this. Can we start with you, Paula? Right, let's go. The -4 goes underneath the rainbow and it turns into +4, and therefore it's 19 plus 4. What's 19 plus 4? 23. Who got it right? Good. Right. Next, Shupu. The +5 goes underneath the rainbow and it turns into -5. So x is going to be equal to 17. 22 minus 5, 17. Right, then we go to E. Okay, stop there. You are right. This is the type of sum where you have to be very, very, very careful. Because it can happen that you think that this minus belongs to 32. And then when you take it over, you make it become plus 32. Now if I write plus 32 this side, remember when it goes underneath the rainbow, the sign needs to change. So what is 32 on this side? Positive. If you take it over to the other side like that, you have kept it positive. Okay, so it cannot stay positive. If 32 goes underneath the rainbow, it has to become -32. And now the other thing that's very important is you haven't changed that negative. It has to be -x equal to 5, and all I did is I took the 32, positive 32 over, and it became -32. So don't change things that you haven't moved, and change the things that you do move. Alright, so you said it's -x on this side, and then what is 5 minus 32? Very good. Who got it right? Without cheating, eh? Sometimes you get to the right answer when you cheat. Okay, good job. Be vigilant of these ones. When there's a negative in front of the x, take your time, make sure whatever you're doing is correct. Tokozoni, easy one for you.
Is when I divided with -6, and then I got x, and then I went to the -72 divided with -6, I got 12.
Good. Negative divided by negative is positive. 72 divided by 6 is 12. Tokozoni, why didn't you add 6? Why didn't you say minus 6x plus 6? Thank goodness you didn't think of that, no? Because that would be wrong. If you take this -6 over and you say I change it to plus 6, you are saying that you would get rid of the -6 in front of the x if you say plus 6. But remember, you have to check what's happening between the 6 and the x. And between them is nothing. It's not, the 6 is not being subtracted. If the 6 was subtracted, then you can say, okay, inverse will be adding 6. But because this is -6 times x, the inverse has to be divided by -6. Do you all see that? Okay, so be careful of making that mistake as well. That's where we see mistakes sometimes. Okay, h will be x plus 9 equal to -15. Okay, so you take the 9 over, it becomes -9. You must write the x on this side, no? Okay, -15 minus 9, what did you say your answer is? -24. Do you see if you're going to make mistakes with integer calculations, you're going to struggle with this. It will be a problem. Right, Zipu?
I divided by -9 on both sides, and then x equals -6.
Very good. Divide by -9 both sides, and then x is equal to -6. Who got all of them correct at number 1? Good job. 1 mistake? 2 mistakes? 3 mistakes? More than 3? Okay. We're going to go to number 2. Number 2B, where are we now? Mercy. Alright, what do we take over first, Mercy? The 3 or the -12? And what does it turn into if it goes over? So I've got 3x equal to 15 plus 12. Is that right? What is 15 plus 12? How do I get rid of that 3? Over 3 both sides, no? And then x is equal to? No? 9. Okay, good. Who got that one right to be 9? Well done. Mcheka, which one you taking over first at C? And what will it turn into if it goes underneath? Plus 3. What is 5 plus 3? And then how do you get rid of the 4? And then your answer will be? Good, you got it right. X equal to 2. Well done, grade 8. Okay, E, let's say D. -28, that's good. How do you get rid of the 7? Well done. We got it right. -4. Good. F. Come on. Well done. You got it right. 14. Good. Musa.
I said 8x equals -7 minus 1.
Minus 71 minus 1, yeah.
And I got 8x equals -8.
Oh, I think you didn't maybe see that one. Okay, but it's fine. You can do it with me. You are fine. So it would be -71 minus 1. What would that be equal to? -72. And then how do we get rid of the 8? Both sides. And then I've got a negative divided by a positive, which will give me a negative. And you know what 72 divided by 8 is? 9. Very good. So my answer is -9. For an example, I just want to use that if that happened in the exams, and you wrote equal to -7 instead of 71, you would only lose the 1 mark for writing it down incorrectly. And then if it counts 3 marks, you will still get 2 out of 3. And that's why it's important to show calculations, because I can see you know the steps, you know how to do the sum. Okay, we got that one right, -9. Good, right, Calvin? I?
I say negative 5x. The question was -5x minus 12 equals 18. Then I say negative 5x equals 18 plus 12. And then I got negative 5x equals 13. And then I divided the negative 5x with the negative 5, and I did it on the other side of the 13. And I got x equals -6.
Very good. We got that one right. -6. Good. Then Bisile, last one, I think. No, second last one. Okay, then we're going to give him a chance and then you are going to do L. Okay, right. But it's not J, we're doing K now. Then Bisile, do you have K? Sorry, she's there mekaar. Okay?
Negative 9 equals negative 40 plus 4.
Yes?
And then it's negative 9 equals 36. Negative means.
Negative 36, ne?
Yes.
Okay, negative 40 plus 4. Subtract, keep the biggest one sign. Okay? And then?
Then negative 9x divided by negative 9. And then I also do the same on the other side. Then x equals negative 4.
Okay, so you made that mistake most with the sign. So now it's negative 36 divided by negative 9. What's a negative divided by negative?
Positive.
So the answer will be positive 4. You got it right? Positive 4? Right? Okay, now you can do L, the hard one. 7x equal to 30? Okay, but so in your next step you've got the 7x to be positive. Okay, so did it change from side to side? Is it still on the left hand side? Shh. Bad choice. I saw when I marked his work that he didn't do his work. That he didn't get it right. So you made a very bad choice. Okay, Kaylin, you can someone mark that wrong and check here on the board. So you can do this with me. What do we want to do when we're doing these sums? Why am I swapping? What is the end result we are working towards? Who can tell him why are we moving these things around and doing inverse calculations? What are we trying to get alone? The x. Okay? That is what we're trying to do. You cannot be doing things and you don't know what you're doing. We want to get x alone. So can you see that there's a 38 and a minus 7? That's preventing x from being alone. Okay? So we always start with the one that's the furthest from x. And that will be 38. So 38 has to go to negative 11. I said when you walk underneath the rainbow, if you're a boy, you become a girl. If you're a girl, you become a boy. So what's going to happen to 38 if it goes underneath the rainbow? Minus 38. And what's going to happen to negative 7x? It stays there and it will stay the same. So do you all see? We spoke about this one with that other sum as well. It's 38 that moves. Therefore 38 has to become negative. That 7x didn't move. It cannot become positive, so it has to remain negative. Okay? Now I've got negative 7x equal to minus 11 minus 38 will give me negative 49. How do I get rid of that part there to get x alone? Both sides. And what's a negative divided by a negative? 49 divided by 7. Who got it right? X equal to 7. I saw when I was checking your books, there were many of you making mistakes here. Do you see that you don't change signs when you move, and you change signs when you don't move? You cannot do that. If it goes underneath the rainbow, then you change the sign. Okay. Alright, we are going to continue with these algebraic equations. I'm going to do 2 examples for you, and then once again I'm going to do the first column of number 3 and 4. You're going to do the second and the third column of number 3 and 4 for homework. So you can please write example 1 for me. Okay, can we start with this one? Do you notice what's different in this sum now? It's got 2 terms on the left hand side and 2 terms on the right hand side. And it's got 2 terms that has an x in, which we're not used to. The other ones had 2 terms that were constant, but it didn't have 2 terms with x's. Right. Now you will remember when we did algebra in the second term. What we did when we got an expression is we indicated the like terms. We used highlighters or underlining in different ways to say this one and this one are like. And this one and this one is like. And then you added the like terms. Okay? We will still be doing that here. But we have a problem. Because when I look at this term and this term and I see that they are like, I cannot add or subtract them because they are not on the same side. How can you add or subtract 3x to 5x if it's on the other side of the equal to sign? And the same goes for negative 4 and plus 12. They are like, but they're not on the same side. Now tell me, this moving underneath the rainbow, is it something that's hard to change the sign? So moving around is not hard. Okay? Do you agree with me? We can go further with the sum if I can get the 3x and the 5x to be on the same side, and I can get the minus 4 and the 12 to be on the same side. Please see here that you agree with me. I cannot calculate 5x minus 4 because this one's got a variable and that's a constant term. And I cannot calculate 3x plus 12. They cannot be added because they aren't the same type of terms. Now there are 2 ways that you can do it. The x's doesn't have to necessarily be left or right. It's your choice. But if I can give you some advice, what I always do is I go and look which x has got the biggest coefficient, the biggest number in front of it. And in this case it would be this 5. Okay? Whether it be plus or minus, it doesn't matter. You first go and see which one has the biggest number. If the one with the biggest number is already positive, as it is here, you keep this term this side. That means this is going to be my x side, the left hand side. If this was negative 5, it's still got the biggest number, but now the biggest number is negative. I would rather take it to the other side so that the biggest number can become positive. It's not that you'll get it wrong if you don't do it like that. It's just another hurdle in the sum that you're going to have to be able to jump over to get to the right answer. Okay, I will show you an example in a minute. So in this case, let's just see that we all understand 5x is bigger than 3x. I'm going to keep the x's on the left hand side therefore. Okay? Which means, and I would suggest just using your pencils to indicate to yourself what you're doing, because now you see 3x. You are bringing it to the left, nay? So what's going to happen to it? To what? Negative. But your eyes are seeing 3x. But you have to write minus 3x. So you see how easily you can make a mistake. So just put in those arrows, which would make it 5x minus 3x. But when I do that, I now have to take the constant numbers to the other side. So there's already a plus 12 on that side. Can I take that minus 3 to the right hand side? What will happen to minus 4 if it goes underneath the rainbow? Plus 4. Okay, so all in all, let's just summarize what we did. We took the 3x to the left, it became minus 3x. And we took the minus 4 to the right hand side and it became plus 4. And now the terms that can be added and subtracted are on the same side. And therefore I can add and subtract them. What is 5x minus 3x? 2x. What is 12 plus 4? 16. And do you see now it looks like the first sums we did? One term on the left hand side, one term on the right hand side. How do I get rid of that 2 in front of x? Divide by 2 on both sides, and then x is going to be what? X is going to be 8. I want to show you real quick on this page that you can do it to the other side as well. Just so you know. Okay, so now I'm telling you once again your x's can be on either side, doesn't have to be left, it's your choice. So I'm going to take it to the right hand side, which means the 5x has to go underneath. If the 5x is going to go right, the 12 is going to have to come left. So what I'll have is minus 4, which was here, it has to stay here so it cannot change. And then plus 12 is coming to it, so it has to change. It becomes minus 12. Other side, I've got 3x. The 5x goes underneath. It's changing, so it has to become minus 5. Everyone's so happy with what I did there. Okay, now I'm going to have minus 16 equal to minus 2x. And then I have to divide with negative 2 and divide with negative 2, and then I get x to be 8, which was exactly the answer that I got there. But now what I'm telling you, the moment that you get a negative coefficient, in my experience teaching the grade 8s, I've seen that you can make a mistake there by saying plus 2 because you're seeing the minus 2. You actually know that it's being multiplied, but your eyes are fooling you. Eh? You see the minus 2 and then your brain is just deciding I'm going to say plus 2. So it's going faster than you taking a moment to think about it. So that's all why I'm suggesting to keep the coefficient, the biggest one, positive. You will see now it will happen that it's not positive and what we can do there. Right, the next one. Next example looks like this. Example number 2. Now once again there are 2 ways of doing example number 2, but I want to strongly suggest not using the second method because it only works with some sums. Right, so please just do the first method that I'm going to show you now. I hope you remember I said to you in the second term that while there are brackets in your sum, you can't do anything. We need to get rid of the brackets first. Now, can I get rid of those brackets? Yes. I cannot do what's inside of the bracket, but you were taught a certain law last term that starts with a D. Do you remember what it is? The distributive law. Now the distributive law says you can take the number outside of the bracket and multiply it with each term on the inside. Does that sound familiar? And then you will get 3n plus 15 equal to 18. So that's second term's work. And do you notice that this sum 3n plus 15 equal to 18, it looks like the ones that you did for homework at number 2. Looks exactly like those ones. So you actually already know how to do it. We're going to start by taking the plus 15 over. If it goes underneath the rainbow, it becomes minus 15. Then I've got 3n equal to 3. How do I get rid of the 3? Divide by 3 on both sides, and then n is going to be equal to 1. Are you all happy with that? Just take a moment to look at the second option. Don't even write it down. So because that thing is one term, you remember what one term is, ne? Everything in one bracket is one term. Only a plus and a minus separates a term. So that is just one term, the whole bracket. And between the bracket and the 3, there is nothing, which means multiply. So what you can do at the beginning is divide both sides with 3. Okay? Then this one will cancel out, and this one becomes 6. And now you can take the plus 5 over, it becomes minus 5, and then your answer will also be 1. But the sums you're going to get in the exams are going to have brackets on the left hand side and brackets on the right hand side. So if this number in front of this bracket is 3 and that number in front of that bracket is 5, you cannot divide in any case. Okay, so that's why I'm not going to let you do it that way. We do it this way. Get rid of the bracket first, then you solve the sum. Then it's just the same. Okay, you can write activity 9.2 again. It's page 117 still. And then I'm going to ask you to help me to do the first 3. Kididi mate say lucky you, but I'm going to help you, so don't worry. Okay. Alright. Do you see that there are 2 terms with an x in it? And there are 2 constant terms. But they are separated with that equal to sign, so I cannot add and subtract them. I need to get them to be on the same side. Now let's just decide which side we're going to take them. To the left side. Why do you say to the left side? Who can tell me why it's a good idea to take the x's to the left hand side? The left side's coefficient is bigger than the right hand side. Shush, Tokozani. It's bigger. So if I'm going to take this 3x to the right, I'm going to end up with a negative coefficient for x, and that's not something I want. Okay. So if I have to take the x to the left hand side, that would mean that this negative 2 has to go to the right hand side to its friend. No. Okay, what's going to happen to that x if it goes left? Negative x. And what's going to happen to the 2 on the other side? Positive 2. So it looks like this. 3x minus x equal to 8 plus 2. You all understand that? Kididi mate say, what is 3x minus x? What is 8 plus 2? How do I get rid of that 2? And then my answer will be? And you were looking so stressed to do this sum. Huh? Easy peasy. Well done. Do you all understand? Okay. For now, do you see there's an x term and there's an x term, but they're not on the same side? And there's a constant and there's a constant, they're not on the same side. The equal to is separating them. So we need to move them. Right. Which side are we going to put the x's? Why? Well, we just said it. X can be alone on either side. Be quiet, grade 8. X can be alone on either side. If I take the 8x to the right hand side, then it will be on the right hand side alone with 2x, negative 2x. If I take the negative 2x to the left hand side, it will be alone with 8x on the left hand side. It can go to any side. But Bonang, I've now repeated myself quite a few times. Why would you choose to keep your x's on the left hand side and not take it to the right hand side? That was what you just said. You said left. Why do you choose the left hand side and not the right hand side, Bonang? Who can help him? Ayanda? Okay, so say it again to Bonang there behind him. So, because maybe then he will hear when you talk because he's not listening when I'm talking. Say it to him again. Say it to him in Sotho as well. Mcheka.
I understand.
You can say coefficient. I don't know if there's a Sotho word for it. Bonang, do you have it now? Okay, so I'm going to move the negative 2x to the left and I'm going to move the negative 6 to the right. What happens to negative 2x if it goes left? So what is going to stand on the left hand side?
8x minus 2x.
Bonang, I've spent the last 3 days that you've been coming to school to tell you that is a rainbow. Ne? If you are a boy and you walk underneath the rainbow, you turn into a girl. If you are a girl and you walk underneath the rainbow, you turn into a boy. Okay? Yes. So therefore minus 2x will turn into plus 2x. And what will happen to minus 6 if it walks underneath the rainbow? Plus 6. What is 8x plus 2x for now? What is 14 plus 6? How do I get rid of that 10 in front of x? Okay? And then your answer will be? Why would you divide with 2? How is that going, dividing by 2 going to get rid of that thing? Be quiet, grade 8s. Yeah, but then you change it to 2. Okay, then what's your answer? This is why you won't be able to get that Friday period off. Because with the Afrikaans class, we finished A, D, and G, and number 4, A, D, and G. But it's a continuous talking in this class. All of the time. The people are not listening when I'm explaining the work. And then we end up not finishing. Okay, so we will go on through this break because you guys are thinking that it's jokes here. Ayanda, you can write down the next sum. Negative 9x minus 4 equal to negative 3x plus 20. Which side are we going to take the x's? Why do you say to the left hand side? Okay, the thing we want to do is we want to get the biggest one to be positive. So on the left hand side it is negative. Do you see that? So we don't want it to be negative. That means we would rather take it to the right hand side so that it can become positive. Does that make sense? So in this case we're going to take the x's to the right and we're going to take the constants to the left. Do you understand that, Ayanda? So on the left hand side I've got a minus 4. What's happening to plus 20? On the right hand side I've got a minus 9, a minus 3x. What's going to happen to minus 9? Plus 9. So I've got minus 4 minus 20 equal to 9x, which became positive, minus 3x, which remained as it is. Minus 4 minus 20 is what, Ayanda? And 9x minus 3x? How do I get rid of the 6 in front of it? Divide both sides of 6. And what is negative 24 divided by 6? What's a negative divided by positive? 24 divided by 6? 4. Then you can write number 4a. Pamelu, what did I tell you what we're going to do first to solve these type of sums? We need to get rid of the brackets. What is that law called, Pamelu? Distributive law, that's correct. Very good. What does the distributive law do here? What will it be in the next step? What will it be in the next step? What's the answer? That's what it says now. What will the answer be after you've done the distributive law? Do you see why we're wasting time, not getting done? Pamelu? Next step. Now your friends around you needs to give you your answers. You think I'm old and deaf and can't hear you. 6x plus 5 equal to 27. No, Pamelu, the distributive law says that you take the number in front and you multiply it with each term inside. We just did this 4 sums ago. That's what I'm struggling with here. What is 3 times 2x? 6x. What is 3 times 5? What am I going to do now?
You need to make the x alone.
Mm-hmm.
So you take the 6 to the other side.
I said you always start with the one that's the furthest away from x. So which one is closest? Is 6 closer to x or is 15 closer to x? Is 15 closer to x? It's in a totally different term. I also said this in another way on Friday. I said you do BODMAS from the back to the front. So you start by taking over the ones that are adding and subtracting. So what am I going to take over first? The what? You did a whole number on sums like this. And what will it turn into? What is 27 minus 15? What is 7 minus 5? What is 2 minus 1? So what is it going to be? How do I get rid of the 6? And then x is equal to 2. So now you go and do number 3, second and third column. And at number 4 you do all of it except for A because we didn't have a chance to do it. And then you decide whether you want to work in this class, okay? Because it's because I have to keep repeating myself. We just did an example like this. Ponang, we just did a sum like you had to do 2 sums ago. You don't listen. So number 3, second and third column. Number 4, we only did A. So you're going to do B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Is that clear enough for everyone? Thank you.